More than 70% of the sales of a typical manufacturer will become obsolete within 6 years. If we get into certain industries like fashion and tech, it reduces substantially to 1 to 2 years. And here's where it gets interesting. Silicon Valley is coming to control the speed of innovation that manufacturers will find themselves subjected to. Because every product around us is being subjected to technology forces as every device in our life becomes plugged into everything else. I'm doing when I do this healthcare talk tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about a lot of healthcare trends. And I'll make the comment that things could get out of hand in this trend with pervasive connectivity. Maybe one morning I'll get up on my weigh scale. It's going to send an email over to my fridge. Don't let Jim in today. He's not living up to the terms of his insurance wellness contract. But you know what? It's very real. I've got a scale at home. I'm 53. I'm managing my weight. I'm down 30 pounds. And I've got a Wi-Fi scale. I get up in the morning. I stand on it. And it transmits statistics to a personal private website. What's happening is everything around us is becoming plugged into everything else. And what's happening is CEOs are realizing that as this occurs, they've got to reinvent their revenue on a continuous basis. This screen here is the thermostat in my home. Typical thermostat, turn up the heat, turn down the heat, turn on the air conditioning, turn off the air conditioning. Except it has one little unique difference. It's plugged into the internet. I was on stage in Las Vegas speaking to a very large group of hungover people one morning, heating, ventilation, air conditioning contractors. And I was talking about this thermostat, and I said, it's really cool. I can be on stage here in Las Vegas, and I said, let me show you. I can go home and I can turn off the heat. And I did that from thousands of miles away. Not a good idea when it's Toronto and it's minus 30 degrees out and your wife is working at home, and she realizes 2 hours later the house is getting colder and colder. But think about what is happening here. The essence of the device changes. The value of the device changes. What we can do in terms of what we are manufacturing changes because we can layer on top of product so much more capability. My two sons, we've got a ski chalet north of Toronto, and they've grown up in a world in which they have this connectivity because I've been out in the leading edge for quite some time. It is not unusual for them to be in the back seat of the car, and a little voice comes from the back, when we're an hour away. Daddy, should I turn up the heat in the chalet? Through their phone. And they don't think that there's anything weird about this. They think this is a normal part of our world. And what is happening is we have an entire generation who is looking at products and thinking that we can do something different. One of the head designers of the iPod left Apple, and he's looking for his next business venture. And he does some back of the math calculations. He figures there's 120 million thermostats in North America. They all look the same. They're all the square white boxes. And they're not very smart. And we have this big global energy infrastructure crisis. And so he proceeded to develop the Nest Learning Thermostat. It's same concept, plugs into the internet, it's reachable via an app, and it's an intelligent learning thermostat. Hidden behind the letter E is a camera. And programmed into this device is some intelligence and facial recognition software so that when you walk in the room, it recognizes who you are. And it remembers your temperature preferences and sets the heat according to that understanding, which it builds up over time. Think about what is happening here. All of a sudden, there is a rebirth in terms of what was once a simple and boring product. Think about what happens as connectivity comes to the auto industry. Think about what happens as Google's self-driving initiatives and innovation come to fruition. Think about what's happening in the auto industry today as Silicon Valley takes over control of the pace of innovation of what is occurring with the dashboard. Think about the sophistication of what is occurring with the car. And think about the opportunities it provides. Think about what it does in terms of skills. And think about what it does in terms of speed. All of a sudden, everybody in the auto industry, the pace of change, the pace of innovation is no longer being set within the auto industry. It's being set by the folks who control the speed of the computer industry, which is a lot faster. And think about what is going to happen in the world of manufacturing. Think about what happens in the world of manufacturing when we get connectivity, right into the manufacturing plant so that we can be managing and monitoring and maintaining, manufacturing process from thousands of miles away. Maybe we're outsourcing to China, maybe we're outsourcing to Tennessee, and we've got some experts in remote manufacturing methodology management who are controlling the manufacturing process from thousands of miles away. Bill Gates observed, we tend to overestimate the rate of change that's going to occur on a 2-year basis. We underestimate the rate of change that's going to occur on a 10-year basis. Innovation is about keeping on top of increasing business velocity and what happens when connectivity drives everything.